there, Tracy from Kazadans Equestrian. This week we're going to start looking at the second biggest killer of horses after colic, and that's laminitis. Laminitis is a really serious condition, and it can actually cause very serious and long-term changes to the horse's hoof anatomy. It's incredibly painful and debilitating for a horse, so it's quite critical that all horse owners know a little bit about it. Today I'm going to look at what are the top 3 myths around laminitis. One of the things that's really important to know is about the anatomy of the horse's hoof. Essentially, the horse's hoof is exactly the same as our fingernail, and the bone or the coffin bone that runs into the horse's hoof is actually only similar to the very end of our finger. So the entire weight of the horse is resting on a single finger bone surrounded by the hoof wall. So that structure is incredibly important for the horse. Obviously, much like our fingernail, the fingernail needs to attach to that bone in the digit, so the hoof wall needs to attach to the coffin bone. Laminitis is actually when there's a breakdown of the attachment between the coffin bone and the hoof wall. Once this breakdown occurs, the coffin bone actually can move and, at its worst instance, actually protrude right out the bottom of the horse's hoof. So you can imagine how incredibly painful this is. The stages where the coffin bone just starts to move away from the hoof wall is also very painful, and the horses do show us some symptoms even at that early stage. Myth number 1. Once my horse or pony is cured from laminitis, it's life back to normal. Laminitis is actually a lifelong condition for the horse. So yes, you may have an acute episode, and yes, your horse or pony may have recovered. It does, however, mean that you need to spend the rest of that horse or pony's life watching, caring, and changing your regime to suit. Myth number 2, only little fat ponies get laminitis. This simply isn't true. 16-hand thoroughbreds can get laminitis, and as well as short ponies. Granted, the number 1 risk factor is a horse or pony being overweight, but that is not the only way that they get laminitis. So any horse or pony can be prone to laminitis, and it's really important that owners keep an eye out for those early warning signs. So myth number 3 is that laminitis is either an off or on condition. My horse has it, now it doesn't. Has it, now it doesn't. By the time you're recognizing symptoms of a horse really being unwilling to move, there were early warning signs that we can catch on to. So laminitis can be in grades. Because it hasn't hit the acute phase, you feel that it's not laminitis. You should be suspecting it. Any unusual, especially bilateral lameness, stepping short, or anything like that. If you can catch that early and try a bit of a change in the diet at the first instance, you may just have saved your horse's coffin bone, foot, and life. So although the first obvious response to suspecting laminitis in your horse is to get it off green grass, and you certainly wouldn't be incorrect in assuming that, there are many other ways that you can assist your horse in treating acute phases, managing low grade, and certainly ongoing and long-term treatment. Next week, I'm going to have a quick look at some of the causes of laminitis and preventative techniques. But in the meantime, I'm going to link some really important resources down below for you in the description. Number 1 is a Facebook group called Laminitis Crisis Support, run by people I know who have extensive and wonderful knowledge on the long-term care of laminitic horses and ponies. Although in an acute phase of laminitis, obviously your vet is the first port of call. However, I strongly suggest that these groups are going to be very beneficial for you also. Sometimes they're able to supply you with some questions to ask your vet about some of the new research and the new diets that have been shown and proven to work. I'm hoping you're not watching this because your horse or pony is having a laminitic episode. If they are, please jump straight over to those groups. Otherwise, I'll see you next week with a little bit more information. Please don't forget, subscribe to the channel. My subscribers are growing now. It's fantastic. It'd also be great to get some discussion going or comments below on this video. Thanks, and I'll see you next week.